rates to remain lower for longer. We may even get an interest rate cut. Yes, the crazy old doctor is here tonight. Interest rate cut. Are you kidding? Have you read the papers? What's going on again? Well, you know, the news today was that China is now threatening to place restrictions on some of our exported goods to mainland China because they need to offset what Mr. Trump's threatening to do with tariffs, right? So we're just a pawn in that game. So what happens if we have issues with our exports, particularly into China? What can happen? What can we do? There's only one thing we can do, is get our dollar down. So to make our goods more competitive, right? You understand that? A dollar's too high. How do we get our dollar down? That's really good. Well, there's only one thing we can do to try to get our dollar down, that's cut our interest rates. Our dollar is too high, everybody thinks that. But our dollar's too high because our interest rates are too high. Our interest rates are higher than anywhere else in the world. And that was courtesy of the fact that we didn't have to cut our rates. When everybody else was cutting their rates after the GFC, we got to a certain level and along came China, thank you very much, and we sold them all our iron ore and coal. And that kept our rates higher for longer. So that ended, and then we had to cut rates, but we're now at a position now where we're holding rates at a significantly higher level than anywhere else. And that's keeping our dollar up. Our rates are higher, it sucks money into our currency. So maybe get a cut. That would be our only option. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I've just presented a pretty credible argument that it will happen, maybe. Now you give me an argument that they will rise. The only argument that interest rates will rise is it's happened before. Well, that's scientific, isn't it? Yeah, but they have to have their interest rates rising because they were at zero.
But now they are hard.
With us. Yeah. But what's happened? Has it done any, you know, what's happened? The same thing with their low interest rates in the US is the conundrum that we face. No income's growing. Talk about that in a minute. Everybody's got a job now, but why isn't your income growing? So they're at the point now at the US, they can't afford to risk their economic growth, which has given them jobs, by continuing to rise rates. The only reason they increased rates was because they realised that if rates are at zero, where do you go for control? You can't go below what you can. But that means you're paying people. Pardon? Well, they did that. But you know, that's the point, is that they're saying, of course, it's not negative now though, but the point is to go to a negative rate, saying we don't want your money in the bank. Don't put your money in the bank. If you do, we're going to charge you. All right? Get out and spend it. The Americans raised interest rates because they realised that a zero interest rate doesn't give the potential for the growth energy to be created in the economy. And it hasn't happened. They've created more jobs, but there's no inflation. There's no income growth. And they're still scratching their heads what to do. Now what they risk is if they push rates up too high, right, then it'll flatten the growth in the economy. But they've done something out of left field against higher rates and given businesses a $1 trillion tax cut. Because the theory is that that tax cut will be passed on to consumers, which will re-energise the economy. It's complete fantasy. You know, they've gone into another $1 trillion debt on top of their existing $1 trillion deficit in the hope that they will have corporates pass on their increased profits by paying less tax to their workers. Why would you do that? If you're a successful business and you get a tax cut, what the hell are you going to be paying your workers more for? The cost. The shareholder's going to say, what are you paying the workers more for? Give it to us.